The vast darkness of space lit up as hundreds of Imperial ships dropped out of hyperspace near the edges of the Sol system. The massive vessels, each larger than Earth's largest cities, moved with precision that spoke of thousands of years of space superiority. On the bridge of the Imperial flagship, Eternal Glory, Lord Dax stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His gray skin reflected the soft blue light of the ship's displays as he studied the small blue planet on the main screen. "Another primitive world for our collection," he said, his voice carrying the weight of someone who had overseen hundreds of conquests. "What do our scans show?" The ship's sensor officer, working at his station, replied without looking up. "The species calls themselves humans. They've achieved basic spaceflight, have a small station orbiting their world, and have reached their own moon. Technology level: Grade 3, my lord." Lord Dax nodded. Grade 3 civilizations were perfect for conquest, just advanced enough to be useful as workers, but not advanced enough to pose any real threat. The Empire had conquered thousands of such worlds over the millennia. "Send the standard diplomatic package," he ordered. "Let's see how quickly they surrender." But something unexpected happened. Instead of the usual panic or immediate submission that followed first contact, the humans responded with calm professionalism. Their message came through clear and steady. "This is Admiral James Stone of the Earth Defense Force. We acknowledge your presence and are prepared for diplomatic discussions on equal terms." Equal terms? Lord Dax almost laughed. No Grade 3 civilization had ever dared to suggest equality with the Empire. He decided to make an example of these humans. "Send in the diplomatic vessel," he commanded. "Show them our full might." The Imperial diplomatic ship, essentially a small warship designed to intimidate, approached Earth. But as it crossed the orbit of Mars, something strange happened. Hidden defense platforms, completely invisible to Imperial scans, emerged from behind asteroids and moons. The sensor officer's voice trembled. "My lord, we're detecting energy signatures, but they're impossible for a Grade 3 civilization." Before Lord Dax could respond, the humans demonstrated exactly why their civilization had been misclassified. A barrage of targeted electromagnetic pulses disabled the diplomatic vessel's shields. Then, with surgical precision, human ships appeared from behind Earth's moon, using gravity as a slingshot to achieve speeds that Imperial sensors couldn't track effectively. "Impossible." Lord Dax slammed his fist on the command console. "They're using gravity manipulation technologies. That's at least Grade 7. Admiral Stone's voice came through again, this time with a hint of steel beneath its professional tone. "The Empire has two choices: leave our system peacefully, or learn why no one has ever successfully invaded Earth." The Imperial crew watched in shock as their diplomatic vessel was disabled, boarded, and captured in less than 20 minutes. The humans had used technologies that didn't follow any known development pattern. They had weapons that shouldn't exist at their civilization level, and tactics that had never been seen in the galaxy. Lord Dax's face darkened with rage. In 10,000 years, no civilization had ever dared to challenge the Empire this way. "Prepare the fleet," he commanded. "We will show these humans what it means to defy the Imperial might." As the Imperial fleet began to move into attack formation, Admiral Stone sent one final message: "We tried diplomacy. Remember that. What happens next is your choice. But I warn you, humanity has spent its entire history preparing for this moment. We fought ourselves for millennia, perfecting the art of war. You aren't our first would-be conqueror, and you won't be our last." Deep in the Empire's classified archives, an urgent update was added to the file on Earth. Warning: species shows irregular development patterns. Military capability severely underestimated. Approach with extreme caution. But it was too late. Lord Dax had already given the order to attack, setting in motion a chain of events that would change the galaxy forever. The first shots of the war were about to be fired, and the Empire was about to learn why humans had survived countless extinction-level events on their hostile world. The warning to run would come much later. By then, most of the Empire would be wishing they had heeded humanity's first and only peaceful warning. The Imperial fleet moved forward with the confidence of 10,000 years of undefeated conquest. Their massive dreadnought, Eternal Glory, led the charge, its planet-killer weapons primed and ready. Lord Dax stood on the bridge, a smile of anticipated victory on his face. "Launch the first wave," he commanded. "Show these primitives the true meaning of power." 500 Imperial warships surged forward, their weapons charging. According to all Imperial tactical data, this force was enough to conquer 10 Grade 3 civilizations simultaneously. The humans had only their small solar system to defend. But Admiral Stone and the Earth Defense Force had been waiting for this moment. As the Imperial ships entered the asteroid belt, hundreds of seemingly innocent mining vessels suddenly activated their true purpose. "Mining charges armed," reported Captain Diana West from her stealth command ship. "Operation Trojan Horse is ready." The Empire had dismissed these vessels as simple resource collectors. They never realized that humans had turned the entire asteroid belt into one massive minefield. Admiral Stone's voice was calm as he gave the order. "Execute." The asteroid belt erupted. Thousands of micro-explosions sent precisely calculated chunks of space rock hurtling toward the Imperial fleet. The Empire's advanced shields, designed to stop energy weapons and missiles, proved surprisingly vulnerable to simple kinetic impacts. "Impossible," Lord Dax shouted as he watched 30 ships disappear in the first wave of impacts. "Their weapons are just rocks." But the asteroids were only the beginning. From behind Earth's moon emerged the real human fleet. These ships were smaller than Imperial vessels, but moved with incredible agility. They darted between the larger Imperial ships, their AI-enhanced targeting systems finding weak points that shouldn't have existed. "My lord," the Imperial tactical officer's voice shook. "Their ships, they're using our own shield frequencies against us." They somehow analyzed and adapted to our technology in minutes. The humans had done what no other species had thought possible. They had turned the Empire's greatest strength into a weakness. Their smaller ships emitted precisely calculated energy pulses that passed straight through Imperial shields, tuned to the exact frequency the Empire used. Lord Dax watched in horror as his invincible fleet began to crumble. The humans weren't fighting like any civilization they'd encountered before. There was no honor, no standard battle formations, no predictable patterns. Each human ship seemed to fight independently yet somehow maintained perfect coordination. "Launch the Dreadnought's main weapon," Lord Dax commanded in desperation. "Destroy their whole world if we must." The Eternal Glory began charging its planet-killer weapon. But the humans had anticipated this too. From Earth's surface, hundreds of nuclear missiles launched simultaneously. The Empire had long abandoned such primitive weapons, and their defenses weren't designed to stop them. "Nuclear weapons," Lord Dax laughed despite the situation. "How primitive." His words cut off as the nuclear detonations created massive electromagnetic pulses, completely disrupting the Imperial ship's sophisticated systems. The mighty dreadnought, pride of the Empire, drifted powerless in space. Admiral Stone's voice came through once more. "You assume that because we still use physical weapons, we don't understand energy weapons. You thought that because we haven't abandoned our primitive technology, we haven't advanced. That was your first mistake." The remaining Imperial ships tried to retreat, but the humans had positioned their forces perfectly. The Empire's standard escape routes were blocked by more asteroid fields, and their backup routes were covered by Earth's main fleet. In just 6 hours, the mighty Imperial fleet, which had never known defeat in 10,000 years, had lost over half its ships to a primitive Grade 3 civilization. Lord Dax sent an emergency transmission to the Imperial capital. "Urgent. Human military capability catastrophically underestimated. Request immediate reinforcements. These humans, they don't fight like anything we've ever seen." As the message was sent, Admiral Stone gathered the human fleet for a counterattack. The Empire had brought war to Earth, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, one that had spent its entire history preparing for this very moment. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was just warming up. The Imperial High Command sat in stunned silence as they reviewed the battle footage from Earth. Their most advanced fleet had been defeated by tactics so simple that no one had considered defending against them. "Show us again," ordered the High Commander, his eyes fixed on the holographic display. "Show us how they used their ships." The replay showed human vessels performing maneuvers that defied Imperial military doctrine. They flew directly into asteroid fields, using the space rocks as cover. They shut down their engines to drift silently, powering up only at the last second to strike. They fought like space pirates, not a proper military force. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, Admiral Stone and his commanders were preparing their next move. The Earth Defense Force had spent decades studying potential alien invasions, creating strategies for every possible scenario. "They expect us to defend," Admiral Stone told his officers, "so we'll attack instead. Operation Ghost Fleet begins now." The humans had noticed something about Imperial technology. It couldn't track ships that used old-style chemical rockets. The Empire's sensors were designed to detect advanced engine signatures, making Earth's outdated technology practically invisible. Captain West led the first strike team in ships that looked like ancient space junk. Her fleet drifted toward an Imperial supply line, powered down and silent. The Imperial ships never saw them coming. "Their arrogance is their weakness," she transmitted back to Earth as her forces captured their first Imperial supply depot. "They're so focused on detecting advanced technology that they ignore everything else." The humans didn't just innovate in tactics. They had weapons the Empire had never imagined. While Imperial ships carried energy weapons that could destroy planets, humans had developed specialized tools for ship-to-ship combat. They used magnetic weapons that stuck to enemy hulls, computer viruses that turned Imperial systems against themselves, and sound weapons that shattered ship windows. "They're not fighting fair," complained an Imperial commander as another of his bases fell to human forces. "They're using primitive weapons. They're fighting like barbarians." But the humans didn't care about fighting fair. They cared about winning. The Empire's biggest shock came when they discovered human AI systems. While the Empire used computers for calculations, humans had developed true artificial intelligence. Every human ship had an AI co-pilot that could make decisions in microseconds. "How did we miss this?" demanded the Imperial High Command. How did we not see their true capabilities? The answer was simple. The Empire had been looking for the wrong things. They measured civilization by clean energy use, space travel, and population size. They never thought to measure creativity, adaptability, or combat experience. Admiral Stone launched the next phase of his plan. Human ships began appearing inside Imperial territory, striking military bases before vanishing again. They used a combination of stealth technology and precise jumping through asteroid fields to bypass Imperial defenses completely. "They're everywhere and nowhere," reported a panicked Imperial captain. "They don't follow any patterns. Each attack is different from the last." The Empire tried to adapt, but they were too rigid, too set in their ways. When they fortified their bases against asteroid attacks, the humans switched to electromagnetic warfare. When they defended against EMPs, the humans used biological weapons that ate through ship hulls. Each solution created a new vulnerability that humans quickly exploited. "Do you understand now?" Admiral Stone's message echoed across Imperial communications. "Humanity didn't advance in a straight line like your civilization. We developed everything we could think of, all at once. Every weapon, every tactic, every crazy idea. We tried them all. What you're facing isn't just our military. You're facing the combined result of thousands of years of human conflict and innovation." The Imperial High Command finally realized their terrible mistake. They had judged humanity by their visible technology, never considering that humans might be hiding their true capabilities. They had assumed that a species would develop like the Empire had, in a straight, predictable line. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that had developed in all directions at once, creating a warfare style that was completely unpredictable and impossibly adaptable. The Empire was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their tactics. It was their endless capacity for innovation. The moment the Empire had feared arrived sooner than expected. Human ships appeared at the edges of Imperial space, but not as a massive invasion fleet. Instead, they came in small, scattered groups that were impossible to track or predict. General Thomas Reed stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Defiance, studying the holographic map of Imperial territory. "Begin Operation Swarm," he ordered. "Show them why humans never fight the same way twice." The human ships split into hundreds of smaller units, each operating independently. Some attacked Imperial outposts, others disrupted trade routes, and some simply watched and gathered intelligence. The Empire couldn't defend everything at once. "They're not following any known military doctrine," reported an Imperial strategist. "Each human commander fights differently. There's no pattern to predict." The Empire had always relied on its ability to analyze and counter enemy strategies, but the humans had given each ship captain the freedom to fight their own way. Some used stealth, others used brute force, and many used tactics that seemed completely insane to Imperial commanders. Admiral Stone's voice broadcast across all frequencies as the human forces pushed deeper into Imperial space. "You thought Earth was our only home. You were wrong. Humanity has always dreamed of the stars. Now we're taking them." The Empire's defense lines, built over thousands of years, began to crumble. Their automated defense systems, designed to stop large fleets, proved useless against small groups of human ships that slipped through gaps in their sensor coverage. A major turning point came when humans revealed their AI-enhanced combat systems in full force. While Imperial ships needed crews of thousands, human vessels operated with just a handful of people, their AI systems handling most combat functions. "It's not possible," Lord Dax shouted as he watched another defense line fall. "Their ships are predicting our moves before we make them." But it was possible. Human AIs had analyzed years of Imperial combat data, learning every standard tactic and response. They could predict Imperial movements with shocking accuracy, while human commanders kept innovating new strategies that no AI could predict. The Empire launched a massive counterattack, sending their largest fleet yet against the human forces. But humanity had prepared for this too. As the Imperial fleet approached, they found themselves fighting in completely dark space. "What's happening?" demanded the Imperial fleet commander. "Where are our sensor readings?" The humans had developed a technology that absorbed all electromagnetic emissions in a massive area of space. Imperial ships, dependent on their advanced sensors, were effectively blind. But human ships, still equipped with primitive optical systems, could see perfectly fine. "You relied too much on your advanced technology," Admiral Stone's message echoed through the darkness. Humans never forgot the basics of warfare. The battle was over in hours. Imperial ships, unable to coordinate or target effectively, were picked off one by human vessels they couldn't even detect. It was the Empire's biggest military defeat in 10,000 years. The news spread quickly through Imperial space. The humans weren't just winning battles, they were revolutionizing space warfare itself. Every engagement brought new tactics, new technologies, new ways of fighting that the Empire had never imagined. Even more alarming, some Imperial worlds began secretly communicating with human forces. They saw the writing on the wall and wanted to be on the winning side. "The humans offer something you never did," one planetary governor told the Imperial High Command. "They offer innovation, freedom to develop our own way, not just follow Imperial doctrine." As human forces pushed deeper into Imperial territory, Admiral Stone prepared for the final phases of the war. Earth's factories worked at full capacity, producing more ships and weapons. But these weren't just copies of existing designs. Each new wave of human ships brought new innovations, new surprises for the Empire. You brought this war to Earth. Admiral Stone transmitted to the Imperial capital. Now we're bringing something else to you. Change. The galaxy will never be the same. The Empire was learning a harsh lesson. They hadn't just started a war with humans. They had started a war with human creativity, human adaptability, and human determination. And they were losing badly. The Imperial capital world of Nova Prime shook with fear as human ships appeared at the edge of their system. Not as a massive invasion fleet, but something far more terrifying. Small, stealthy groups of ships that could strike anywhere, anytime. Lord Dax stood before the Imperial Council, his once proud posture now beaten and tired. The humans, they've reached our core worlds. But it's not their weapons we should fear most. It's what they're showing our people. Across Imperial space, citizens were witnessing something unprecedented. Human ships would appear in a system, defeat the Imperial forces, and then help rebuild. They shared technology, traded freely, and allowed worlds to govern themselves. This is your final warning. Admiral Stone's message reached every world in the Empire. We've accessed your records. We know about the worlds you've enslaved, the species you've destroyed. Surrender now, or face the consequences. The Empire had always kept their most devastating weapons secret. Planet killers, star destroyers, weapons that could end entire civilizations. Now they prepared to use them all. But humanity had prepared for this too. As Imperial commanders tried to activate their superweapons, nothing happened. Human AI systems had already infiltrated their networks, turning their own security against them. Did you think we wouldn't find your hidden arsenals? General Reed's voice carried across Imperial channels. While you watched our ships, our digital warriors were dismantling your empire from within. The truth hit the Imperial Council like a physical blow. Humans hadn't just beaten them in space. They'd won the war before the first shot was fired, by understanding and infiltrating Imperial technology. Panic spread through Nova Prime as citizens realized the truth. The Empire's propaganda machine had always portrayed humans as primitive barbarians. Now they saw humans offering advanced technology, medical care, and freedom to conquered worlds. Your empire is built on fear, Admiral Stone broadcast. Ours is built on innovation and cooperation. Your people are choosing their future, and they're not choosing you. The Imperial military faced a new crisis: mass desertion. Entire fleets refused to fight, their crews having seen that humans offered a better way of life than the Empire ever had. Lord Dax watched in horror as another core world requested human protection. How? He demanded. How did they turn our own people against us? The answer came from an unexpected source: the Empire's own historical archives. Humans had studied every empire in Earth's history, learning how they fell. They weren't just fighting a war. They were systematically dismantling the Empire's power structure. Your nuclear arsenals are now under our control, Admiral Stone announced. Your superweapons are disabled. Your fleets are deserting. Surrender, and we'll ensure a peaceful transition. Resist, and we'll be forced to demonstrate why every species that ever tried to conquer Earth failed. The Imperial Council gathered for an emergency session. Their options were clear: surrender to the humans, or watch their empire crumble into chaos. They never needed to destroy us, one council member realized. They just needed to show our people a better way. Across Imperial space, the message spread: run, not from human weapons, but from the old way of life. Run from the Empire's oppression. Run toward the freedom the humans offered. The Empire's mighty war machine, built over 10,000 years, hadn't just been defeated, it had been made irrelevant. Human ships now protected former Imperial worlds, their AI systems detecting and preventing any attempt at retaliation. As the Empire's structure began to collapse, Admiral Stone prepared for the final phase of the war. But it wouldn't be fought with ships and weapons. It would be fought with ideas, with innovation, with the very things that had made humanity unique in the galaxy. You thought we would destroy you like you tried to destroy us. His message echoed through Imperial space. Instead, we're going to do something far more powerful. We're going to change you. The age of empires is over. The age of innovation has begun. The Empire's greatest fear had come true. Not that humans would destroy them, but that humans would transform them into something entirely new. The famous run transmission spread across the galaxy like wildfire, but not in the way anyone expected. It wasn't just a warning to flee from humans. It was the Empire's admission of complete defeat. In the chambers of the Galactic Council, representatives from 100 alien species gathered to witness something unprecedented. The mighty Empire, which had ruled for 10,000 years, was crumbling not from destruction, but from revolution. We've received requests for protection from 50 more Imperial worlds. Captain West reported to Admiral Stone. They're not running from us anymore. They're running to us. The Empire's own security forces began broadcasting their surrender on all frequencies. This is an official warning to all Imperial forces. Run. The humans cannot be defeated. But more importantly, they should not be defeated. Lord Dax watched from his command center as entire fleets changed their allegiance. The Empire's mighty warships now carried both Imperial and human flags, symbolizing their choice for change over destruction. You never understood, did you? Admiral Stone's message played across all Imperial channels. We didn't want to destroy your civilization. We wanted to free it. The impact of human innovation spread faster than their ships ever could. Imperial worlds discovered that humans freely shared their technology, their medical advances, their scientific knowledge. There was no need to steal or conquer. Humans believed in cooperation. They're not just better at fighting, an Imperial scientist reported to the Council. They're better at everything. Their creativity, their adaptability. It's like they're a different kind of life form entirely. Other galactic species, long watching from the sidelines, began reaching out to Earth. They had seen how humans handled the Empire, not with mindless destruction, but with calculated change and offered improvement. The run transmission took on new meaning. Imperial citizens weren't running away in fear. They were running toward a new future. Every day, more worlds requested human protection and guidance. Your Empire taught obedience. General Reed broadcast to the remaining Imperial loyalists. We teach innovation. Your Empire demanded submission. We offer collaboration. The choice is yours. The Imperial propaganda machine, which had worked for millennia, finally failed completely. They couldn't hide the truth anymore. Humans weren't the barbarians they'd been portrayed as. They were something far more dangerous. They were innovators. Even the Empire's most loyal worlds began to change. They saw how human-protected planets flourished, how free exchange of ideas led to rapid advancement, how cooperation brought more progress than conquest ever had. This is why we survive. Admiral Stone explained to a gathering of alien representatives, not because we're stronger or more advanced, but because we never stop adapting, never stop improving, never stop dreaming of something better. The run transmission became a symbol of transformation. Imperial citizens ran from oppression to freedom. Imperial scientists ran from restriction to innovation. Imperial worlds ran from control to independence. Other species in the galaxy watched in amazement. They had expected humans to destroy the Empire. Instead, humans were rebuilding it, transforming it into something entirely new. Your Empire was built to last. Captain West told a group of surrendering Imperial commanders. Ours is built to change. That's why we won. The final phase of the war wasn't fought with weapons at all. It was fought with ideas, with innovation, with the fundamental human drive to make things better. The Empire's last loyalist worlds faced a simple choice: adapt or be left behind. The galaxy was changing, and humans were leading that change. Let this be a lesson. Admiral Stone's message spread across the stars. The most dangerous species in the galaxy isn't the one with the biggest weapons. It's the one that never stops evolving. The run transmission would be remembered not as a warning of destruction, but as the beginning of a new age. An age where cooperation replaced conquest, where innovation replaced stagnation, where the human spirit of endless improvement spread across the stars. The Empire hadn't just lost a war. They had witnessed the birth of something entirely new in the galaxy. A civilization built not on power, but on the uniquely human desire to always reach for something better. As the last Imperial strongholds surrendered, the galaxy prepared for an age of unprecedented change. The humans weren't just victorious. They were revolutionary. 1 year after the famous Run transmission, representatives from every known species gathered on Earth for the signing of the Galactic Cooperation Treaty. The once mighty Imperial Palace now served as a museum, a reminder of how quickly things could change. Admiral Stone stood at the podium, addressing the largest gathering of alien species in galactic history. The Empire's former throne room now hosted beings from 1,000 worlds, all united not by force, but by choice. "We didn't win this war with just weapons," he began. "We won it by showing the galaxy a better way. Today, we make that way official." The new Galactic Council looked nothing like the old Imperial one. Instead of appointed rulers, it had elected representatives. Instead of forced submission, it had voluntary cooperation. Most importantly, it had humanity's spirit of innovation at its core. Lord Dax, now serving as a representative of the reformed Imperial worlds, addressed his former enemies. "We spent 10,000 years thinking. We were teaching the galaxy how to live. In 1 year, humanity taught us how to grow." The changes were everywhere. Former Imperial warships now carried scientific expeditions. Military bases had become research centers. The Empire's rigid hierarchy had been replaced by a network of cooperative alliances. "Let this be recorded in every archive," General Reed announced to the Assembly. The final warning of the Empire wasn't to run from humans in fear. It was to run from stagnation, from tyranny, from the belief that any one way of life should rule all others. The transformation wasn't just political. Humanity's influence had sparked a renaissance across the galaxy. Species that had been subjugated for millennia were rediscovering their own innovation, their own creativity, their own ways of advancing. Captain West, leading the new Galactic Exploration Fleet, reported discoveries that would have been impossible under Imperial rule. "When you let people think freely," she told the Council, "they surprise you with what they can achieve." The Empire's last prophecy had come true, but not as they'd imagined. Their warning to run had become a call to action. Run toward progress, run toward cooperation, run toward a future where every species could develop in its own unique way. "We're not here to rule," Admiral Stone explained to the Assembly. "We're here to explore, to learn, to grow. That's what humans do best, and that's what we invite all of you to do with us." The new Galactic Charter, signed by representatives of every known civilization, enshrined the principles that had made humanity unique: the right to innovate, the freedom to develop independently, and the commitment to mutual progress. Former Imperial worlds, once trapped in rigid development patterns, were now experiencing rapid advancement. They had learned humanity's most valuable lesson: that progress comes not from following rules, but from breaking them thoughtfully and creating better ones. The Empire spent millennia trying to make everyone the same, a former Imperial scientist observed. "Humans showed us the power of being different." As the ceremony concluded, Admiral Stone unveiled humanity's next great project: the Galactic Innovation Network, a system for sharing knowledge and discoveries across all species and worlds. "This is humanity's true victory," he announced. "Not that we defeated an empire, but that we released the creative potential of 1,000 worlds." The famous Run transmission was preserved in the new Galactic Archives, but with a new annotation: "This marks not the end of an empire, but the beginning of an age of innovation. The humans didn't just change how we fight. They changed how we think." Lord Dax, in his final public address, summed up the transformation. "We thought we were the greatest civilization in history because we had conquered the galaxy. The humans proved greater by showing us how to free it. As the new era began, ships of all species set out to explore the unknown regions of space. But they weren't looking for worlds to conquer. They were looking for new ideas, new ways of thinking, new possibilities. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The greatest power wasn't in weapons or control, but in the endless human drive to innovate, to improve, to dream of something better. The age of empires was over. The age of humanity, of innovation, cooperation, and endless possibility, had begun. And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, the next civilization to discover Earth would find not just a warning to run, but an invitation to join in humanity's greatest adventure, the eternal quest to build something better.